it's time to get serious. Oh, yes, indeed, because it now gives me great pleasure to pass over to our chair, Amanda Nobbs, for the AGM part of the meeting. Enjoy, and I'll see you very soon.
Thanks, Blowfish, and welcome back to Reading, where I'm now joined by our Chief Executive, Sandy Look, by my Vice Chair, Mark Haviland, and also by Helena Thurnstrom, who we hope will become a trustee of the board this evening. Now, we're working in rather bizarre times where we have a lovely wide audience for joining us virtually, and also a very select audience in the room here in Reading. You may be aware that at the moment we're actually required by company law to hold a real meeting that members can attend, and where we can register proxy votes. This is a one-off situation, and we will be very interested in your views as members in future years, whether you would prefer to hold virtual AGMs, and we could do them totally virtually in future, or whether you would like to meet in the room. One thing that we are very clear about, though, and that is that we really want to give you as members and those joining our meeting this evening every opportunity to ask questions. We're very shortly, at our 30th annual general meeting, going to be passing or proposing 5 resolutions. And so I just want to be very clear and make sure that if there are any members who would like to ask questions on any of those, please do pop those questions in the chat, because we'll make sure we answer them before you vote. And in the meantime, I'd now like to hand over to a short film from our Treasurer, Susan Rollinson.
Hello, I'm Susan Rollinson, and I'm a trustee of the Marine Conservation Society and its treasurer. I work really closely with our finance director, Nicola Spencer, and team to ensure that the charity has robust financial management, governance and reporting. Good stewardship of the funds trusted to the charity has never been more important than it has the past 18 months, as we've had to navigate our way through the pandemic. This impacted not only on our income sources, but our ability to spend money in the way that we had planned. In the early stages of the pandemic, the trustees met frequently with senior management to review the evolving situation and ensure that the charity was responding accordingly, including revising our financial plans. In April 2020, we rebudgeted and adjusted our expected income down by a third. However, we actually fared much better than anticipated, and at £4.3 million, the charity's income for the 2021 financial year was actually just 13% below our pre-COVID plans. This funding has helped us innovate the delivery of our work in light of restrictions and ensure that we could invest in projects across our objectives. This includes £1 million on projects to create a cleaner ocean, expanding our scientific research team and investing in digital campaigning tools, £0.9 million on a healthier ocean, including transforming our Good Fish Guide to influence more sustainable seafood sourcing and buying choices, and £0.9 million on working towards a better protected ocean, with projects such as improving marine conservation in the UK overseas territories. We've also increased funding to our education and engagement work by a third and developed online resources to reach new and wider audiences and promote access to enjoying the ocean for everyone. Alongside generous emergency funding, it is the support of our members and donors that meant that we were able to get through the crisis in a secure financial position, including holding reserves of 4 months of unrestricted operating costs as a contingency. This support is hugely appreciated and has meant that we were not only able to operate successfully during the pandemic, but can now return to our plans to grow the charity and expand vital work to protect our marine environment.
Thank you, Susan. So we now come to the formal AGM agenda part of our meeting, and this has been sent to members, so you should have this with your notice of the meeting. So this is the only legal part of our proceedings today. And we'd like to remind you that only Marine Conservation Society members will be able to participate and vote during this part. Information on items being proposed tonight has been previously circulated to our members and is also available to view on our website. So I'll now announce the 5 proposals one by one. But before casting your votes, we will answer your questions regarding each proposal. I just want to confirm as well that there has been somebody proposing and seconding each of our confirmed and each of those has been confirmed in advance and is going to be noted in the formal AGM minutes, which will be available on the website in due course. So I'd now like to ask members to use the screen to submit your vote. What you will do is you select the thumbs up button under each proposal, click vote, and then you put your name, email and membership number, but please don't worry if you don't have your membership to hand, then click send. And please do this for all proposals. And I feel a little bit like on the competitions like Strictly, but if you've already cast your vote by proxy, please don't vote again because your vote won't count. So before we begin, I can confirm that we've had 33 proxy votes that have been received from members unable to attend this evening, and I, as the chair, will carry these votes. So the first item is to approve the minutes of the 29th Annual General Meeting that took place on the 19th of November 2020. Are there any questions from members on this? No, in which case, will you please cast your vote now if you've not already done so? Thank you. Our next item is to approve the financial statements for the year ended the 31st of March 2021 and the report of the Trustees and Auditors. Are there any questions from members? No, in which case will you please cast your vote now? Our third item is to appoint Richard Sandy Partnership Limited as the auditors of the company until the next AGM at a fee to be agreed by the Board of Trustees. Are there any questions from our members? In which case, please cast your vote now if you've not already done so. Our fourth item is to receive and adopt updated Articles of Association of the company, and the following special resolution is proposed. The Articles of Association of the company to be deleted in their entirety and replaced by the Articles of Association attached to this notice in substitution of all former Articles of Association. Are there any questions from our members? Thank you. In which case, please, can you cast your vote now? Our fifth and final item refers to changes to our board, and I'd like to introduce our newest member, Helena Thurnstrom, to say a few words.
Thank you very much, Amanda. So my name is Helena and I work as a lawyer in one of the main UK banks. I've already had the privilege of seeing what this amazing organisation can do and does throughout this year. A little bit about me. I'm a Swedish national and I grew up in the Baltic Sea archipelago, moved to France as a teenager and then moved to the UK to study law at university. So my childhood has been very much defined and characterised by sailing in Sweden and spending time on the Atlantic coast in France. And I think because of this, I've always had a really strong affinity with the ocean. And then coming to scuba diving as an adult has definitely helped fuel this. And so I think that now is a great time to it's a real opportunity for us to advocate, to educate and to engage. And I've been so inspired by everything that we've heard here earlier this evening, all of the panelists. And I guess for me, I think that it's also important that, you know, ocean-related issues and activities are made contemporary, accessible, relevant and inclusive. And equality, diversity and inclusion is something that I feel very passionate about, as everyone on this panel will know already. And I think throughout this year, I have been so impressed with the sort of determination, the passion, the drive that MCS has shown in bringing equality, diversity and inclusion into all aspects of the organisation's outputs. So throughout the year, I've also enjoyed very much getting to know my fellow trustees, the SMT, and of course, Sandy and Amanda. Highlights for me have included work around equality, diversity and inclusion, governance, and of course the blue carbon. So incredibly grateful for the trust that you've placed in me so far this year. Super excited to be part of this amazing organisation, and I hope to be able to help contribute to the future successes of MCS in 2022 and beyond.
Thank you so much, Helena. Are there any questions in relation to the proposal that we elect Helena as a trustee? If not, would you like to cast your vote now? So thank you very much. Those were the 5 votes, and we will be announcing the results very shortly. In the meantime, we can now answer some questions if you have any.
Thank you, Amanda. So we've had a few questions in, and let's start with the first. And I think I'm going to pass this one over to you, Amanda, if I may. The question has just disappeared off the screen. If we can just bring that back. But I'll tell you what, I think it was about the income that we had. How have we managed with the income and forward planning? How are we looking with regards to the finances of the organisation?
Well, thank you very much. We've, as you heard from Susan, at one point during the pandemic, reduced our expectations. And in practice, we've found that as a mix of having to cut back on some activities and emergency funding and fantastic support from trusts and membership and fundraising initiatives, that actually this is no time to reduce our ambition. And so we as trustees are being very, very careful to manage risk at the moment. We are also equally committed to growing the organisation because we are so aware of the important work that we need to do around the climate emergency and the nature emergency, and the job to be done in making sure that people are just aware of the crucial role that the ocean has to play in actually generating the solutions to so many of the problems we face at the moment. And to be effective, as is often the case, that means people. We want to be able to invest in the staff who are going to make things happen.
Great, thank you very much. Second question, COVID. It's had an impact on society across the board. What are the lasting impacts, do you think? So perhaps this is for you, Sandy.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we were impacted by COVID and there are certain things we couldn't do. But what it did for us more than anything, I think, is it made us more creative, more innovative. It forced us to become flexible. It forced us to become agile, to create real amazing digital tools that and help educate digitally and just have big new ideas. So I think COVID has actually helped us think bigger, think more creatively and think more innovatively. So yeah, I think it was difficult, but in the long run, it's going to make us stronger.
I think as well, the other thing that's significant is that a lot of people reconnected with nature and the environment during COVID. And that's something that we don't want to lose sight of. And just think of the number of people who flocked to the beaches as soon as they could when we were let out, when we'd all been cooped up during lockdowns. You know, our coast and the sea really matters to people. And I think that we can use that to really develop the way we care for the ocean over the next few years.
Great, thank you very much. So another question that has come in, why change articles so much? Do we have a preference for virtual or physical AGMs within the organisation? Does that mean that members will have less of an opportunity to meet the board if we go virtual? Who would like to take that?
I'm really happy to start off on this one because I really do want to put this one back to the membership. The one thing that we would not want to do is to become a remote board. And so we would be very keen to make sure that we take advantage of technology, as Sandy was describing, and think of new ways of making sure that we can engage with all our supporters and our membership. And we will be wanting to find out what your thoughts are on what the best mix of virtual and real physical meetings should be for the organisation going forward. When it comes to changing the articles, a big part of that is actually about having the choice. I think probably the trickiest thing is this year, where we're having to do a sort of hybrid virtual and in the room meeting, and that's more difficult. Our articles in the future will enable us to be able to have virtual events if we want to, and those decisions will stand. And equally, we've always got the option of having real face-to-face meetings. Do you want to add anything there, Sandy?
Yeah, I mean, that's really it. We changed the articles to give us the option, and we might have, when we have online AGMs and conferences, so many more of you can join, and that makes it much more inclusive, and it makes it much more open. When we meet physically, you can meet us directly, and that's also really good. So my guess is possibly that we'll have both, will alternate, or we'll have some kind of combination of it. But we definitely, as Amanda says, will want to hear back from you on that.
Fantastic. Will the presentation slides, the question we get every year, be available after tonight? Shortness of time. There's a lot to consume tonight. Will they be available?
Yes. That's
Great
the
answer. Fantastic. Simple as that. Well, I think that might be it for the questions. Unless, if there was a question in the room here. No, we're okay for now. Thank you very much. But I think, one last question has come in. This is important because clearly we're not the only organisation here trying to solve this problem. How much do you value collaboration with other charities and organisations?
Yeah, and the answer is obviously hugely. We collaborate with so many different organisations, companies. We, as you've already heard today or this evening, on climate change, we collaborated with Rewilding Britain, with Whale and Dolphin Conservation, with the Wildfowl and Wetlands Trusts, and many more. We also work with lots of universities, so some of the research that my colleagues were talking to you about is done with lots of university partners. We also work in communities and engage with people in communities. We work with politicians, and we have lots of corporate partners, as you've already heard as well. And we think it's really important to work with all of those to make the change that we have to make, because the change that we have to make goes across society. The entirety of society has to be involved. So collaboration is absolutely key.
Fantastic. I think that's our questions.
Thank you so much, Mark. And so now, before handing back to Blowfish, I'd just like to announce the result of the earlier vote on proposals. And so turning to the first, the approval of the minutes of the 29th Annual General Meeting, that was passed with 31 votes, plus the 33 proxy votes, which I carry.
Okay.
Thank you. We then come to the second motion, to approve the financial statements for the year ended the 31st of March 21 and the report of the trustees and the auditors. That was again passed with 31 votes plus the 33 proxy votes that I carry. We then come to the third, to appoint Richard Sandy Partnership Limited as the auditors of the company until the next AGM at a fee to be agreed with the Board of Trustees. That was passed with 43 votes plus the 33 proxy votes that I carry. On the fourth motion, to receive and adopt the updated Articles of Association of the company, that was passed with 22 votes plus the 33 proxy votes that I carry. And we now come to the fifth, which was the election of Helena Thurnstrom to the Board of Trustees. And that was passed with 28 votes, plus the 33 proxy votes that I carry. So all of those motions have been passed. And I'd just like to thank everybody for your participation in this evening's AGM part of the business. Back to you.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen. What a great evening, and we've stormed through it. Bish bash bosh. That's how we do. We're not playing around. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, all of our proper bigwigs there in Reading. Good stuff. As I say, what a great evening. Don't forget, it'll all be online. It'll all get online. You'll be able to watch it on there, including all the Shoal sessions, including, I'm happy to say, Doug's session. There were a little bit of technical difficulties there, but what's doing an online AGM without a technical difficulty? So Doug's session has now been recorded and will also make its way online as well. So there's not much left now for me to do. Lucky you guys, you're going to not have to see this anymore. There's always a bonus. I got to look at this every day. It's horrendous. But I just want to thank, before we go, I want to thank Deborah, our headline speaker, for her passion and just vicious enthusiasm. Fabulous stuff. I want to thank our main sponsor, St Austell's Brewery, for supporting the event. Thank you. All the ocean ambassadors out there, including the guys we saw tonight, Ben and Doug. Thank you very much. To the whole team at Marine Conservation Society, not just for organising this event, but for all the stuff that they do and all the hard graft that they go and do day in, day out for our seas, for our planet. Thank you so much. You're just top quality jazz. But there's one more set of people, one more person, you there watching. Thank you. Thank you to our members, our supporters, our donors, our volunteers, our ambassadors, our fundraisers, our champions, staff, trustees. The list goes on and on and on. Thank you to everyone who gets up in the morning and goes, you know what? I'm going to make today a blue day, because bit by bit, little by little, we're going to win. We may lose the occasional battle, but only we decide when we've been defeated. And I don't know about you, but I ain't giving up. Not with a beard this good. Oh, I'm looking to be the new Neptune. So next time round, we're going to be celebrating all our successes. So I thank you as well to the guys at First Events for making all this technical magic happen. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Blowfish signing off. Thank you and good night.